Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, I will be tracking a major winter storm this week, bringing heavy snow and severe weather. And then an Arctic outbreak is likely into late January and especially early February. We'll be tracking that as well as several snow chances into early February in this video. Looking out here this morning at the visible satellite imagery, we got two storm systems to talk about. We got the storm system up across the Northeast, bringing more snow today across portions of interior New England. And then our next major winter storm starting to take shape across the desert Southwest that will be pushing into Texas overnight tonight and getting into Tuesday morning. Looking up first across the Northeast, we got widespread winter weather alerts here in these purple and pink shaded areas. In the purples, we have winter weather advisories. In the pink shaded areas, these are winter storm warnings where we are gearing up for more snow throughout the day today. High temperatures down here across the Northeast. We're going to see highs into the middle and upper 20s, even some lower 30s, especially getting into that I-95 corridor. And that's where we're going to start to see more snow and maybe a rain snow mix across portions there from Boston down through central Connecticut and northern New Jersey and even Long Island there as well, around that noon time frame. And then going through the afternoon into this evening, some of that snowfall will be pushing farther east and towards Cape Cod, getting back into Rhode Island, eastern portions of Connecticut, including the Boston area and Massachusetts. But by the time we get into late this evening, we'll shut off the precipitation from west to east across portions of the Northeast and the I-95 corridor as we get into the 10 o'clock hour here this evening. Looking at additional snowfall accumulations now through Tuesday morning, we have healthy amounts across portions of eastern New York, getting into southern Vermont, New Hampshire, and coastal Maine. We could be talking about an additional 5 to 7 inches, even some 8-inch totals up here into coastal Maine throughout the next 24 hours. Maybe a couple inches of snow here as well for parts of the I-95 corridor here, getting through Boston, down through central Connecticut, but lesser amounts the farther south you go toward New York City and New Jersey. And this will be contributing to some travel impacts as well. In these yellow and orange shaded colors, we have those minor to moderate travel inconveniences. So do take it slow on the roads across portions of New England throughout the day today with that snow flying. But if you guys are with me on this video, don't forget to press the subscribe button down below and the like buttons, the thumbs up button down below the video. Hit both here to get all of my daily weather forecast updates as well as get more of this weather information out to more and more people. So I definitely would appreciate if you hit both buttons down below. But going into early this week here, today we have that system that is taking shape across the desert Southwest. This is our next major winter storm that is going to be moving across much of the country. You can see that bowling ball type of trough starting to dig down all the way south into the Baja of California and northwestern Mexico. That will get even stronger as we get into the day on Tuesday, tomorrow, January 24th, as it pushes into northwest Texas as a bowling ball trough here. But then as we go into middle of the week on Wednesday, we're going to definitely start to see more of this move up into the Ohio Valley and portions of the Great Lakes region with this energy, and that will transfer into snow showers across those areas. So looking here on Monday today, January 23rd, we got that low pressure system well far south. This is northwestern Mexico. Some snowfall could be flying across eastern Arizona into western New Mexico here. But then as we go into the day on Tuesday, this is 9 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, heavier snow could be flying around western portions of Oklahoma, getting into parts of northwestern Texas, especially up into the panhandle here from Amarillo down through Midland and Lubbock, Texas, and then all rain across south central and east Texas during this time. But looking at the temperatures, these are your near surface temperatures here around the 3 o'clock time frame Tuesday afternoon. They will be marginal. Temperatures will be in the low to mid 30s down here across Oklahoma, into the panhandle of Texas and North Texas here near the Red River. But as we go up a little bit farther in altitude into the low levels, these are your 850 millibar temperatures here, just a few thousand feet above our heads. And you can see the dynamic cooling with this system will be there And that will transfer some of these temperatures down a little bit farther toward the surface by that 3 o'clock time frame. And that's when we'll start to see that snow line shift a bit farther to the east across the Red River in Texas. We could see some flakes starting to fly into the Fort Worth, even the Dallas area, and especially the heavier snow taking shape across the Oklahoma City area, getting up here toward Tulsa, and then back across portions of the Panhandle in Texas. That will spread further north and east up toward portions of southern Missouri and northwestern Arkansas as we head into Tuesday evening around the 9 o'clock time frame. But at that same time, we're going to have some severe weather breaking out across portions of the Gulf Coast going into the day on Tuesday, especially overnight Tuesday night. But looking at the snowfall amounts here from Monday night through Tuesday night here, we're going to see a decent amount here, a decent swath of 3 to 6 inches of snow, maybe isolated 7-inch totals here, where we can see some higher banding of snow set up across especially northwest Texas, back into the Panhandle, and across much of Oklahoma, especially western and central Oklahoma, and then that will transfer up across northwestern Arkansas into southern Missouri during this time frame. This will be causing some travel difficulties across these areas, the Panhandle in Texas, eastern New Mexico, especially near the Red River here, getting into southern portions of Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas, and southern Missouri. We could be talking about those minor to moderate travel delays out there, so definitely be mindful of that if you are traveling. But turning to the severe weather potential on Tuesday, we have a warm side with this system, believe it or not, and we actually have a level 3 risk on the scale of 1 to 5 here of a enhanced risk of severe weather across portions of the New Orleans region, getting up here into southern Mississippi and near the Mobile, Alabama area, and that extends into the far northwestern tip there of Florida. And looking at this is a level 3 of 5, so this is high confidence that several storms will contain damaging winds, severe hail, and tornadoes. And this means scattered to numerous severe thunderstorms can be expected in that orange shaded color. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center has already highlighted a 10% hatched risk of tornadoes across the New Orleans region, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, and northwestern Florida. Those are your EF2 or stronger variety tornadoes out there as well. But even that tornado risk is sent a bit farther to the east here across portions of central Alabama into northwestern Florida as well toward the Panama City area. That will be going into Wednesday morning, so do want to be mindful of that. Going in toward that wind potential, we have the potential for the 15 to 30% chance of winds that could be over 60 miles per hour through the day on Tuesday, especially Tuesday night. And then the lower end threat for hail as well, up to around quarter size as we get towards Tuesday evening. And the reason why we're seeing this, dew point temperatures won't be surging far north, but they'll be north enough here into the portions of the Gulf Coast, the immediate Gulf Coast, and those slight and enhanced risk areas I just showed you that will have dew points in the 50s and 60s, contributing to some energy, some instability out there. We'll see those thunderstorms really grow. And you can see that squall line across East Texas getting in towards portions of the Houston area, Tyler, Texas, going into 2 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon. By the time we get into the mid-evening hours, around 9 o'clock, we'll see that squall line transferring east across Louisiana into western portions of Mississippi, down here across the lower Mississippi Valley. And then that will transfer even farther east as it weakens here with time going into the morning hours on Wednesday at around 6 a.m. And this will be more of a heavy rain threat by the time it reaches Atlanta, Chattanooga, and then down here into portions of eastern Alabama as well. A couple of these storms still on the southern edge of the squall line Wednesday morning around 6 a.m. could still be producing severe weather. So we still want to be mindful of the damaging winds, the large hail, and the potential for isolated tornadoes as well into northwestern Florida and southeastern portions of Alabama. And I wouldn't even be surprised if this extends into far southwestern Georgia into Wednesday morning. And the reason for this, the confidence in this is so much higher than it was yesterday, is because this significant mid-level trough will be moving in across the southern plains. A mid-level jet will be rounding that trough with winds that could be over 80 miles per hour in the mid-levels, and a very robust and formidable low-level jet right off the Gulf of Mexico, feeding in the energy and the kinematics with this system for tornadoes going in through the day on Tuesday, especially overnight. So this is an overnight threat, so you definitely want to be mindful of that. That system will push off to the east Wednesday morning. We'll be seeing heavier snows up here into the Illinois Valley, back into Missouri, Iowa here, especially in toward the Indianapolis region, up towards South Bend, Gary, Indiana. And then that will be transferring over toward Columbus and Toledo with some of the heavier snows. And then by the time we get into the 3 o'clock time frame on Wednesday, that'll be spreading up towards Chicago, Milwaukee, getting up in towards Detroit here, over towards Pennsylvania, New York State, New York City this time, potentially getting some snow as well. And then going through the day on Wednesday, another marginal threat for severe weather across portions of the Outer Banks there of Virginia, getting into Carolinas, into portions of Georgia and northwestern Florida as well. And then that system will continue to move up to the northeast, bringing heavier snow into Quebec and portions of Maine as well, getting into Thursday morning, and all the heavier rains will be pushing off the coast there into the western Atlantic with that cold front as we get in toward the midday hours on Thursday. So looking at the total snowfall accumulation this week, this will be stretching from eastern portions of New Mexico through Texas, Oklahoma, getting up into the Missouri, Illinois, and Ohio river valleys, and then that will be spreading up here into the northeast. And looking individually at these areas, the Ohio Valley, we could be seeing a solid swath of 3 to 6 inches across southern Missouri, northwestern Arkansas, south central Illinois. That extends up here into portions of Indiana, Ohio, especially around the Columbus area and on north. And then as we get into the northeast, Pittsburgh, getting up here into portions of Scranton, Albany, New York, New York City, even portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, the I-95 corridor finally getting a few inches of snow as well. And then heavier snow amounts up here into western and coastal Maine as we get through that late week time frame for the potential of some 5 to 8 inch snowfall amounts across the majority of the Northeast as this system pushes across those areas. But then what happens after that is we have a very strong push of cold air toward the very end of January into the first few days of February. And I do think this will extend into the second week in February as well, even though it does say February 1st. And the reason for this, we're going to have that ridge starting to dampen farther south and east, and that's going to be pulling in this cold air from the Arctics here. You can see well up into Siberia, northern portions of Canada, and the Arctics here. We're definitely talking those very cold 30, 40, 50 plus degrees below zero temperatures up here this afternoon. But by the time we get into late this week, some of these very cold temperatures and the core of that polar vortex will start to shift farther south across central and eastern Canada, and we'll start to introduce those single digits and teens for highs on Friday across portions of the northern plains. And then by the time we get into February 1st there on Wednesday, we're definitely going to be talking about some well below zero temperatures creeping farther south into southern Canada, but also into the northwestern United States as well, into the Pacific Northwest, the northern plains, and perhaps the central plains as well. So looking at the potential high temperatures here on Friday, January 27th, this isn't an official forecast, but it does give you an idea of how cold things could just get by that time frame. You see the milder air farther south, but look at the train of the polar vortex starting to move southward, and you can see the wind chill values by then will be well below zero farther north, and that will train farther south here into portions of the Dakotas, into portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois here, and farther east with those single digits and teens for wind chills on Friday the 27th. And then by the time we get into Wednesday the February 1st, yeah, we could be seeing double digit below zero highs across not only southern Canada here, but across the northwestern and northern United States, while we have that ridge farther to the southeast responsible for those 60s, 70s, and even 80s down here into central and southern Florida. Factor in the wind chill values, we could be seeing wind chills well below zero, in fact, 30 degrees or colder below zero with these wind chills as we get into the first day or so of February, with that temperature battle zone going on across the middle of the country. And we have a strong trough. No surprise there, as we have that temperature battle zone with the colder air north of that trough, and south of that trough we have that ridge, and that battle zone will be going on. And that's why I do think toward late January, especially into that first full week in February, we'll be setting up some more heavy snow on the northwest side of these low pressure systems that look to develop in the southern central plains and lift northeast across the Ohio Valley, mid-Atlantic, and the northeast. To the northwest of there, very heavy snow. To the southeast, more rain and storms, and maybe some severe weather at times as well, as that cold air starts to impinge farther southeast on some of these warmer temperatures into early February. And that is important for snow lovers as well, because this will be pushing that snow line farther south across the central and southern plains, and then eventually across the Ohio Valley, going toward early February. We'll be dropping that snow line farther south with some significant snowfall there in the vicinity by the time we get into early on February. So recapping the weather forecast for you guys, a major winter storm is likely here through the week with heavy snow and severe weather. An Arctic outbreak is looking increasingly likely through late January and especially early February, and several snow chances are ahead of us here into early February as well, with a lot of snowstorms possible during that period. Thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video down below, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. Get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Monday, everybody, and I will see you all in the next video.